Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. Hope everybody's doing well and are safe. And take a look at this week's outlook for the futures market in currencies and U.S. Indices for the week of December 6th to 11th. So Sunday, December 6th through to Friday, December 11th. So starting off with the Australian dollar from last week, continuation. We saw that from last week, you can see that we were at a very strong resistance, but the Australian dollar looked very strong overall and should have easily broken through and is looking to continue its solid move to the upside going forward. So looking at a strong Australian dollar going into this week, and you can see again that still pushing to the upside, and I would not be betting against the Australian dollar going into this week. So even though we're a little bit sideways, a little bit, it's just looking like it's picking up some momentum to continue its push to the upside. So I would look for a strong Aussie dollar going into this week. Okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, last week I called for a possible break of the high, and you can see the previous high. We came very close, and it pulled back, but is again trying to make a comeback and a challenge for that high. And as you can see, again, we're sort of in a little bit of a lull because we're right at a resistance, but it looks like this week it might just push through that resistance area and assault the highs that have been generated. So again, looking for another push to the upside for Bitcoin for this week, and we could see a new high being made going in. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let's take a look at crude oil. And crude oil also quite strong. Again, looking for more strength in crude oil. There was meetings and all kinds of stuff going on with OPEC, and yet it's still very strong. So looking like again more strength going into this week with crude oil. So and again, another one that I would not be going short on. I would be looking for continued move to the upside for crude oil. Okay, let's take a look at the US dollar. Whoop, I think I missed one. Sorry. Let's take a look at the Canadian dollar first. On the weekly, Canadian dollar. Also, lots of strength to the upside. I was looking for strength last week, and we got that. We got that break of the resistance area, and now we've reached a new resistance area, as you can see. And are we going to be pulling back at this point? It doesn't look so. This is a very strong move, and I think this is going to continue into this week as well. And again, you can see from this level, yes, indeed, we are pushing very strongly to the upside. So another currency looking pretty good overall to the upside is the Canadian dollar. Okay, let's take a look at the US dollar. So last week called for weakness to the downside, and we are still looking very weak from this point of view on the weekly. We're still a ways from previous support area, so we got quite the move to go. Of course, we could get a little bounce, but any bounces mean we would be looking for entries to go short. Any retraces up are just opportunities to go short. So at this point on the daily, we are indeed on the way down. So again, any moves back up, and we could get moves back up, it's opportunities to continue going short. Okay, so that will be the takeaway for the US dollar. I can go to the 4-hour. And so for this week, again, any retraces, if we retrace back up, we want to continue to go to the downside. Okay, so that's US dollar. All right, let's take a look at the euro. And on the week, again, very strong to the upside, looking looking super strong for the euro as well. So I would want to be looking for strength. And this of course is going to be doing the opposite of what the US dollar is doing. So US dollar was heading down, and this will be heading to the upside. So we might get a little lull or a pullback. That's just opportunity to jump in and go long. So don't be going short, unless of course you're on a very low time frame that you might want to do that. But other than that, longer term, you want to go up. Okay, so any pullback, and of course we can get pullbacks to these areas. We want to jump in to go long. Okay. All right. Look at the Swiss franc. Also very strong. I can't see over. Let me go one to the monthly on this one. Okay, so we're in new territory altogether with the Swiss franc on the futures. We've broken through strong resistance there, and like butter, and we're just heading into new territory. So everything's looking very strong for the Swiss, and still continuing strength into this week. So I would again, any pullbacks we want to go long. And that's basically the setup for the Swiss. Okay, so looking pretty strong there for the Swiss overall. Okay, so again, it's a little bit of a consolidation in here, but the overall trajectory, any pullbacks, we want to continue going long. Okay, let's take a look at gold. We'll go to the weekly. Okay, and I'll go to the monthly so we can see the overall. So monthly wise, we broke through that high. We came back down. So we're sitting at a very vulnerable position here. We could get a push back up, but any push back up right now, I think would probably portend another fall. We could come back down, even back down to this level. So it's possible that that could happen before we continue the move to the upside. So be careful with the gold. So that's on the monthly. So on the weekly, you can see it's trying to push back up, but I think it's possible that we could fall one more time. We could even come back and challenge this area at least. So let's go down one more time frame, the daily. Okay, so this will tell us a little bit better story. So from here, it looks to me like we are going to head down one more time. So we could again challenge this area and before we get a turnaround. So a little bit of weakness in gold perhaps going into this week. So be aware of that. Okay, so that's gold. Let's take a look at the Japanese yen on the weekly. Okay, so Japanese yen struggle. We're still you know in a trajectory to the upside, but we got that pullback and then a push back up. So this is the weekly. I'm sorry. That's that was from a few weeks ago. We're on this trend line, and we pushed back, came back up. So it looks like we're coming back down to challenge that trend line. In the short term. So this week could be a little bit of a move to the downside for the Japanese yen, and US dollar is weak as well. So this could definitely be moving to the downside in the short term. Okay, so push to the downside for Japanese yen. You can see that it's very choppy, we're kind of in this channel chopping around in it. So we could see another. If any move to the upside, we could see another move coming back down again one more time. So choppiness, not liking that Japanese yen too much, very volatile. Okay, next one is the New Zealand dollar, and on the weekly, also very strong, but we're right up at a resistance right now. So could be some hesitancy going into this week, and you can see we've had quite a run with New Zealand and the Aussie. So any pullback right now, again, would be an opportunity to jump in and go and continue along. But right now, you can see we are heading down a little bit. We could come back into this area before we get a pushback to the upside. So be aware of that. All right, next one is the Mexican peso. So Mexican peso was on quite a tear to the upside there for a while. So let's take a look out in the weekly. Very strong, hitting some support resistance areas all the way across, but very strong to the upside. and still looking strong. So Mexican, I don't know what they're doing down there, but still looking pretty strong overall. So any pullback is opportunity to continue going long. Okay, so do not be going short on this currency. Okay, the British pound on the weekly. Okay, also very strong last week as predicted to the upside, but we're hitting that resistance area, so we're getting a little bit of a pullback. So on the daily, you can see we're pulling back very strongly at this point. So we could come back down to this area. We could even come back down here. So something like that before we get a push back up. But overall, the trend is still to the upside. So any retraces, and this is what we're having right now, would be a continued move to the upside. So you can see we have some support here, we have some support here. Last line of defense is here. Not seeing it going all the way down there, but we could certainly come here and then bounce. So a little bit of a pullback at first with the British pound, but after that, I think we should continue to the upside. Okay, so that's the British pound. Let's take a look at silver. And on the weekly. Okay, so I'm going to go to the monthly on this one. Okay, so now we can see where we are. This is our previous support area, or sorry, resistance area. So we've came very close. There's a couple of areas here. So we came very close into it, and then it was price was rejected. So what I'm seeing here is opportunity to go back up again, but we first have to get through this little bit here. So dropping to the weekly, that's what's happening right now. We're just coming into this very choppy affair. So are we done at this point? That's totally possible, but we could also have one more push down. So let's take a closer look on the daily. And now we can really see the pattern. So what I'm seeing here, all this move across, we're going to be coming back down one more time before we head back up. So very choppy area that we're going through, but it'll be a move to the upside, but it's more likely would be faked out. You'll be faked out, so you need to continue to the downside with this, at least in the short term. Okay. Let's take a look at the US small cap 2000, which is the IWM or the Russell 2000 on the weekly. Very strong. Let me just go to the monthly to see where we are. Okay, so we've broken to new highs last week, and this is what was expected last week, and it did. We broke to new highs and very strong indeed. So are we going to continue to the upside? Looks so overall. So still very strong to the upside. We're maybe getting a little bit exhausted, possibly, but breaking to a new high and with that kind of strength is a good sign that we should continue, at least in the short term, to the upside. So again, not going to bet against this. We've come through this narrow channel. We're breaking to the upside. So unless this is a total fake out, we could get something like this, and then we could continue one more time to the upside this week. Okay. Look at the Dow on the weekly, also very strong, also breaking to new highs this week as expected, and it did break through. And on the daily, we're still heading to the upside very strongly. We've got a nice strong setup here that's pushing us to the upside. So I would look for any retraces to continue to the upside on this. So it's similar to the Russell. We've come through this area. We're now pushing to the upside. So possible retrace, but more than likely we're going to be heading to the upside on that. Okay. Looking at the S&P 500 on the weekly, also broken to new highs and with strength, and you can see the setup here. So it looks like we have a long way to go to the upside for at least till Christmas, possibly. So on the daily, very strong to the upside. Okay, so this is where our previous high was. We've broken through with strength. And again, if we do get a pullback, it'll be short-lived because we're going to still continue to the upside. Okay, so looking very strong there on that one. And lastly, we look at the U.S. technology sector futures, and also very strong. Let me go to the monthly, see where the previous high was. Oh, okay, we're right there. So we're right at new highs on the weekly. You can see we're right there, breaking through to new highs. We just broke through the new highs last week, and are looking to push to the upside. And again, you can see we've come through this channel, and we're now pushing to the upside with strength. Okay, so any pullbacks is opportunity to jump in and continue going long. All right, so that's a look at all the futures for the coming week. Lots of opportunities, and for the members of Simple 123, if you're playing the majors, keep your eye on the U.S. dollar, and profitable trading to everyone. Be safe. We're done now. Thank you.